about the schools that are represented in the final. We see some wrestlers from the quote-unquote superpowers, but it's more spread out this year.
Matt, there were 25 schools represented this morning. That's a tremendous amount to be represented in the morning round. No one had more than 4. A few schools had 3. No one has dominated Region 3 this year.
The quarterfinals were held last evening, the semifinals this morning. So in less than 24 hours, these wrestlers have gone through an awful emotional experience, a physical challenge. What has to happen? What do they have to do to get through the next 6 minutes?
Now there's the mental preparation, not just the athletic ability that they obviously have to be at this point. It's being ready when they take the mat. It's breaking a sweat. It's having that perspiration kind of be felt throughout the body so that they don't make the mistake in the first 30 seconds when they hit their feet on the mat. That's going to be the key for our final.
All right, the wrestlers are being introduced to the crowd at hand here at Union High School. The Region 3 championships are just moments away. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with the 103-pound bout right after this. And we are about to begin the 130-pound championship, and it matches Dave Packie, that young man from Madison, and his opponent, Anthony Ialeggio. Ialeggio from Livingston, and Ialeggio's only loss to Dave Packie. Ialeggio 26-1, Packie 27-0. Packie defeated Ialeggio in last week's District 9 championship. It was 3-2, and it was Packie scoring late in that bout to turn things around.
With approximately 10 seconds left, if I remember correctly, a takedown. So we have 2 wrestlers that have wrestled very, very close matches in a summer tournament. Ialeggio, a victor over Packie in a match. So we have 2 people out here, each capable of defeating the other. Packie, a place winner last year, and having a wonderful year as a 12th grader. And again, it's the first weight class that we do not have the second-seeded person in the finals.
Norman Spagnola of New Providence was seeded number 2, but he lost last night in the quarterfinals. Lost to Mike Guerrero of Del Barton.
Guerrero went on with a 14-8 victory over Chris Posey of Westfield to take 3rd place here at 130 pounds.
No score as a little over a minute has gone by in this 130-pound championship.
Ialeggio warned for backing and stalling. Early call with still 5 minutes to wrestle. Packie the one going forward, but it's Ialeggio that does a nice throw. He has 2, and he could get more. We'll see what the count is. He will get 2 back, and it's Ialeggio with the 4-0 lead.
And injury time taken as Packie is down on the mat. Gets up onto all 4s. It seems to be okay.
Set up beautifully. Had the far arm. Catches it tight. Came down. Does not seem to come down hard on the head, but tries to bridge here. 2 points. There's where the count began. That's where he picked up 2. Fine job by the Livingston wrestler to take that 4-0 lead. An 11th grader from Livingston. Another year to go. A weight class to stay away from a year from now with this young man.
Losing the way Ialeggio did last week as we look at Packie, who seems to be okay. Over 100 wins in his career, and that 100-win mark's an awfully nice barrier to crack. But losing the way Ialeggio did can be more of a reason to come back with some fire in your eyes. You know, you feel you were the better wrestler and lost in the last 10 seconds, and it kind of makes you want to get back out there quickly. I'm sure he's happy to have only a week in between rematches.
And he was down in his semifinal match somewhat early and managed to come back and pile up the points at the end. He's holding onto that leg with 5 seconds to go. A stalemate call.
3 seconds left in the first period.
Packie would like to try and get one with those 3 seconds and is unable to do so.
Ialeggio taking a 4-0 lead into the second period. The Livingston Brain Trust. Bob Keenan, the head coach. They finished 12-7 this year. Livingston was 4th in District 9, which was won by Parsippany.
Packie out in front. Ialeggio holds, locks on that leg. Packie trying to get him off the base, grabbing the ankle. Stalemate coming. Ialeggio has to be careful. He has that warning. If they feel he's just holding on to that leg to stop any kind of action, he'll be hit for a point for stalling. Ialeggio now bars the arm. That's not a stalling position here. He can tilt that man on the bottom, try and get him onto his back.
And that's what he's trying to do.
Packie, too good a wrestler to allow it to happen. He's running it now. He has the far wrist. Packie frees the wrist, and that took care of the bar. Nice spiral on the head for 1 point.
4-1, 1:05 to go in the second period.
Packie again can't have the head controlled. Ialeggio controlling Packie's head, and by controlling Packie's head, he gets a takedown in 2. Packie has no excuse there. His head was controlled. There was a nice snap.
And injury time being run off once again for Dave Packie.
You see Packie's head down. Ialeggio keeping it down. Packie may not be happy with that position. That's a setup. You're going to see a nice snap. You're going to see a very fine circle. Packie wanted injury time or a stoppage of action. That was not the time to ask for it. He was in a position of disadvantage, and a very fine takedown for the Livingston wrestler.
Ialeggio second in District 9, as we mentioned, losing to Packie last week by a 3-2 score. Ialeggio, two-time Carney Holiday Tournament champion, 3rd in Essex County's 125-pound classification in 1991, and was the 1992 135-pound champ. Down a weight class here in Region 3.
Packie angry about those 2 points. Comes out easily to the front.
Making it 6-2 with 45 seconds to go in the second period.
Packie that sorely needs the takedown here to get it to 6-4. Stalemate position coming up if there's no action that changes in the next 4 or 5 seconds. But it's Ialeggio coming up, coming out the back door. Packie is hurt on that one. There was a little twist of the rib cage there. That was very visible on his face when it occurred.
2 points given to Ialeggio, extending his lead to 8-2.
And anyone that questions why the runner-ups move on in their second and third place positions.
And the match is going to be called off here.
If you take a look at Packie's face as this move occurs, you're going to see a real twist in the ribcage area. Our cameras, as our crew does so often, picked it up so beautifully. The problem's not there. It's right here. The shoulder came down of Ialeggio into the ribcage of Packie. He has a shot at Wrestling Wednesday if he's not injured anymore.
So Ialeggio will win the 130-pound championship.
And I'm pleased that he had the lead when it occurred, Matt. It wasn't an injury for someone when they were behind, but that lead was his to protect.
And he avenges his loss last week in the district championship and acquitted himself quite well. So we're going to talk to a winner, Anthony Ialeggio out of Livingston, who winds up avenging his only loss of the season and perhaps an injury It's not the way you wanted to end it, but the way you were dominating the match. How to make you feel good that you were able to avenge that loss of last week?
It definitely made me feel good because last week there was a couple questionable calls. So we had to expect that in a match sometimes, so it definitely felt good to avenge him.
Yeah, it was a 3-2 loss last week in the district final where he scores late in the match. Were you thinking about it all week, about the possibility of meeting him somewhere along the line here?
I definitely thought about meeting him in the finals, but it wasn't bothering me during the match or during the tournament.
Talk about your move through this Region 3 championship, starting with the quarterfinals.
Well, in the quarterfinals, I wrestled Mike Wicker out of Irvington, very strong. And then in the semis, I wrestled Guerriere in the semifinals. I had also wrestled him at the semifinals of the districts, so he was also tough. But I scored a couple points when I needed them.
You feel comfortable with the way you're wrestling at this point as you prepare to move on?
Yes, I thought today was one of my best matches ever. I was definitely confident in the match, and if I wrestle like this, I think I'll do great down there.
All right, best of luck
Thank you
as
very
you
much.
will take with you the Region 3 banner. Anthony Ialeggio, who won today over Dave Packie at 130 pounds.